evening and many thanks for joining us. You're watching Qtv Nightly News, which is also on Q Radio 103.3 FM with me, Answana Nyasi. First, here are the main news headlines. The Speaker of the National Assembly and leader of the APRC party, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, has called on Gambians to remain tolerant, avoid insults and reject tribal sentiments ahead of the upcoming presidential election. Tibu Africa, an international NGO which uses sports as a primary tool for social inclusion, education and socio-economic empowerment of youth, has been launched in the Gambia. In partnership with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the project was rolled out for students at Ladekunda Sabiji Low Basic School. Action Aid International, the Gambia, recently convened a forum on bilateral investment treaties with the National Assembly Select Committee on Trade at the National Assembly grounds in Banjul. The gathering brought together lawmakers, civil society representatives and policy experts to discuss how investment treaties impact national development, governance and public accountability. And the General Manager of the Gambia Postal Services Corporation has revealed the government's new mobile money application called Sutura as part of efforts to advance digital transformation and prepare the country for a future cashless economy. And in international news, Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has pardoned journalist Reni Capan-Bassène, who many believe was unjustly sentenced to life in prison for his alleged role in the 2018 massacre in the Casamance region of Senegal. Stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. Now, the Speaker of the National Assembly and leader of the APRC party, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, has called on Gambians to remain tolerant, avoid insults and reject tribal sentiments ahead of the country's December 5th presidential election. He made the remarks in an interview with QTV shortly after observing Eid prayers in Talinding. Usman Jatta reports.
Elections in the Gambia are often characterized by vibrant political activities, with politicians and party supporters actively promoting their agendas, especially during mass rallies. With the December 5th presidential election now 7 months away, the Independent Electoral Commission recently concluded its month-plus nationwide supplementary voter registration exercise to update and strengthen the voter register ahead of the polls.
Allahu Akbar.
The National Assembly Speaker Fabakary Tombong Jatta is advocating peace and tolerance as the country heads towards another crucial electoral season.
It's our collective good for us to ensure that as leaders ourselves and to every other Gambian to ensure that we have peace during these coming elections. Let's avoid as much as possible, let's try to be tolerant and to avoid insults or tribal sentiments. I wish the Gambia every success, and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, come December elections, we sail through it safely.
As nominations and political campaigns draw closer, tensions among party supporters are often expected to rise. However, community leaders are also calling for restraint and responsible civic engagement. Babukar Vujalo, chairman of the Talinding Eid Committee, urges Gambians not to allow politics to overshadow their daily responsibilities.
Well, elections is just some critical time, but basically is somebody must be a president, no matter who your candidate is. The best thing is it's going to be a Gambian, and we all need to understand that when the person becomes a president, we all need to rally behind the person and move this country forward. My only sad thing that happens is Gambia, it seems like politics is never finished. Even when we select our president and all the parliamentarians with all these people are selected, we are still on politics. In election time, let's do election. After election, let's think about how to move this country forward.
Meanwhile, Karamo Sise, councillor for Talinding South Ward, and Musa Koli, NAM for Talinding, encourage voters to make informed decisions and avoid political violence or conflict during the election period.
Gambians should be voting for term limit, And then two, Gambians should not be voting for because someone is black or white, but Gambians should be voting for someone who have a program for the Gambia.
We must respect each other's position in terms of how the country should be run. So we don't have to create enmity of ourselves. We are Gambians, as Gambians, we should be careful of the messages we send. Messages we send through our audios, our WhatsApps, our YouTubes that can inflame conflict in the country.
As part of the 2026-2027 electoral calendar, the Independent Electoral Commission announced that presidential elections will be held on December 5, 2026, followed by National Assembly elections on April 10, 2027, councillor elections on May 22, 2027, and mayoral and chairperson elections on June 26, 2027. Osman Jata, QTV News.
Qtv Africa, an international NGO which uses sports as a primary tool for social inclusion, education and socio-economic empowerment of youth, has been launched in the Gambia in partnership with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. The project was rolled out for students at Latrikunda Sabiji Law Basic School. Our sports reporter Moody Gajaga was there and he now reports.
More than 50 children from the Latrikunda Sabiji Law Basic School took part in the launch of the Qtv Africa, an NGO whose drive is to promote physical activity, to promote health and well-being among primary school children. Key stakeholders joined their partners from Morocco to roll out the project. Dr. Habibatu Drame, Bakari Y. Baji, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education and Youth and Sports, respectively, and Mohamed Amin Zariat, the President of Qtv Africa, spoke at the event.
The launch of the Generation Sportive program is not merely the introduction of sports initiatives. Rather, it is becoming a strategic partnership that seeks to harness the power of sports as a catalyst for education, social inclusion, health promotion, life skills development, and youth empowerment.
This school to be a sample for a school sports career path. And why is this important? Because not every student that comes to this school is going to be good academically. We can, yes, want to force them to be great academicians and do well in the classroom, but by our inclination, there are people that are meant not to be focusing on education 100%, but to have other talents and other skills that we cannot continue to neglect.
First, we have this vision to become the locomotive of sport for development in Africa, but also we believe that the future is collective, and through the support of His Excellency President Barrow and different ministries of the government of Gambia, and through also our vision to give or to offer this program for all the kids in Gambia, we can achieve this.
Qtv Africa operates in over 50 African countries, and the Gambia became the 51st country where it is launched. Through this project, primary school boys and girls are empowered through sports education by doing some sporting activities. Qtv Africa has rapidly expanded its footprint, connecting with youth change makers to foster continental sport-based development. Ibrahim Ajany is the Qtv Africa change maker for the Gambia.
We will launch different projects in the Gambia. We will establish an office. We will bring projects. We will empower our youth, bring them to the grassroots, teach them, nurture them to have a better career tomorrow.
As Qtv Africa prides itself as a leader in social innovation through sports, there is optimism that the project launched in the Gambia will create a genuine pathway to the personal and professional success for diverse beneficiaries, as they have done in several other countries. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Action Aid International de Gambia recently convened a forum on bilateral investment treaties with the National Assembly Select Committee on Trade at the National Assembly grounds in Banjul. The gathering brought together lawmakers, civil society representatives, and policy experts to discuss how investment treaties impact national development, governance, and public accountability. Loliam Kamara reports.
The forum highlighted the increasing importance of bilateral investment treaties, BITs, and their implications for the Gambia's economic future. Participants described these treaties as legally binding agreements between countries designed to attract and protect foreign investment. While such agreements can promote economic growth, create jobs, and foster international partnerships, speakers warned that they may also expose countries to costly international litigation and long-term financial obligations. Buba M.E. Jata, the Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly, emphasized the constitutional responsibility of lawmakers to scrutinize international agreements before ratification. He noted that members of the National Assembly served as the ultimate gatekeepers of national sovereignty and must carefully evaluate whether treaties genuinely support sustainable national development.
As National Assembly members, the Constitution bestows upon you a heavy and sacred responsibility, the power of ratification. No international treaty or bilateral agreement can legally bind the Gambia without your approval. You are the ultimate gatekeepers of our national sovereignty.
The chairperson of the Select Committee on Trade, Honorable Keba Jalo, reaffirmed the committee's role in ensuring transparency and accountability in investment decisions.
As global economies become increasingly interconnected, honorable colleagues, it is important that investment agreements remain balanced, transparent, and beneficial to all parties involved. Our discussion today should therefore focus not only on attracting investment, but also on ensuring sustainable development and mutual prosperity.
Ndela Fai Koli, Executive Director of Action Aid International de Gambia, stressed the need for reforms in investment treaties to safeguard the interests of citizens, particularly those from vulnerable communities. She expressed concerns regarding investor-state dispute settlement cases, which have become costly for many developing countries and often affect public resources and social services.
As we are also benefiting from some of those, and this you will see later from the discussion. In recognition of these challenges, it is important that African countries review and reflect on these bits as it is. And we are saying that it's a call for challenging them, but also to look at where we can reform them. Because maybe initially the intention were good, but along the line they have become the reverse. There is no better institution, of course, to promote this reform agenda better than the National Assembly.
Speakers concluded by encouraging lawmakers to actively engage in policy discussions and to ensure that future agreements balance the interests of foreign investment with national priorities and social justice. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
That report there by Loli M. Kamara will lead us to the commercial break, but when we return, we have more national and international news stories. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching QTV Nightly News with me, Ansumana Eso-Nyasi. The General Manager of the Gambia Postal Services Corporation has revealed government's new mobile money application called Sutura as part of efforts to advance digital transformation and prepare the country for a future cashless economy. Jacqueline Colley spoke to the General Manager of GAMPost and she filed this report.
From buying credit at the corner shop to sending money across regions with just a tap on the phone, mobile money has rapidly become part of everyday life for many Gambians. In a country of nearly 3 million people, already served by more than 15 mobile money operators and financial platforms such as QMoney, the move towards a cashless economy is gaining momentum. Now, the Gambia Postal Services Corporation, GAMPOS, is preparing to enter the growing digital finance space with the launch of its own mobile money application, Sutura, as the Gambia joins the rest of the world in embracing digital transformation. Speaking about the initiative, the GAMPOS boss Lamin Cham says the world is rapidly evolving digitally, with many countries shifting towards systems where transactions are conducted mainly through mobile money wallets and digital applications instead of physical cash. He says the Gambia cannot afford to be left behind as technology continues to reshape global financial systems, trade and communication.
We have brought in this wallet to help the government's agenda of making the Gambia a cashless society. So the platform is ready, it's up and running, although the official launching is coming very soon. But we want to encourage all Gambians, resident here and abroad, to actually register on this platform.
The planned Sutura mobile money platform is expected to provide users with digital payment services, money transfers, and other financial transactions through mobile devices, while also contributing to financial inclusion across the country.
Gradually, government is working to ensure that everybody in the country is included financially. You know, those that are not served and those that are underserved financially, government want to include everybody. And it's going to do it through this platform called Sutura, brought in by Gampost in partnership with UK BB Money Company and Nifty ICT Solution.
However, can the new initiative compete in an already crowded mobile money market in the Gambia, where more than 15 financial and mobile service providers are operating with a population of about 3 million people?
This one is going to be very, very effective because it has come to stay. Yes, it is here to help Gampost generate revenue and transform the institution. But more importantly also is to help government's drive of creating a cashless society. So this one has actually come to stay. It is going to transform the financial landscape of the country. Gradually, very soon, most of the government payments are going to be executed through this platform. And that makes it a government platform brought in for the Gambian people, brought in for the citizens through Gampost, which is playing a critical role in this digital economy through the collaboration with our line Minister of Communications.
Authorities say the introduction of the Sutura app represents another step in modernizing the country's communication and financial service sector in line with global digital trends. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jacqueline Koli.
Now, every year on May the 29th, the global community marks the International Day of UN Peacekeepers to pay tribute to the invaluable contributions of peacekeepers worldwide and to raise awareness about the evolving challenges they face in protecting rather vulnerable populations in conflict zones. Mamna Buka has the rest of the story.
Established by the UN General Assembly in 2002, this annual commemoration dates back to 1948. When the UN Security Council authorized its very first peacekeeping operation, the United Nations Truce Supervision Organization. This mission was tasked with monitoring ceasefires in the Middle East at the cusp of the Arab-Israeli War, which followed the expiration of the British Mandate for Palestine, a period marked by a collapse of territorial control, massive regional war, and an urgent international push to contain a global crisis. Over the nearly 8 decades that followed, more than 2 million peacekeepers from all corners of the globe have served in some of the world's most volatile conflict zones, 4,500 of which have lost their lives guiding nations from the brink of collapse towards sustainable stability. The Gambia remains a proud part of this enduring legacy. Since first deploying troops in the 1990s, the West African nation has sent more than 4,000 uniformed personnel into peacekeeping missions across dozens of volatile global front lines. From the civil wars of Liberia and Sierra Leone to current critical stabilization efforts in South Sudan and Abyei. The most recent was Gamkoi 23, the name for the Gambian contingent deployed to the Darfur region of Sudan, a mission which ended in 2021. As dignitaries gather in New York to posthumously award the prestigious Dag Hammarskjöld Medal to fallen heroes, focus is placed on this year's theme, Invest in Peace, highlighting the stark reality of today's peacekeepers operating in a highly polarized geopolitical environment. They face sophisticated hybrid warfare, active disinformation campaigns, and expanding mandates amidst constrained operational budgets and deep political divisions. The commemoration honors the service, sacrifice, and dedication of these peacekeepers and issues an urgent call for decisive global action that emphasizes the reality that peace requires explicit political will, sustained financing, and a collective commitment. As the world navigates an era of intense regional conflict, today's observance serves as a direct appeal to member states that financial resources and unified political backing are no longer optional. They are the fundamental cost of global stability. Mamna Buka, reporting for QTV News.
Time now for international news in a moment. Now, Senegal's President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has pardoned journalist Rani Kappan Bassène, who many believe was unjustly sentenced to life in prison for his alleged role in the 2018 massacre in the Casamance region of Senegal. Jacqueline Colley provides more details.
Rani Kappan Bassène was convicted for his involvement in the roundup and killing of 14 loggers in January 2018 by armed individuals in the Bayot forest in Casamance. The region is mostly entirely separated from the rest of Senegal by the Gambia and has endured a separatist rebellion for 43 years. That proximity to the Gambia has occasionally seen the conflict spill across the border. The Committee to Protect Journalists (CPJ) stated that this pardon aims to correct what it described as injustice against a journalist dedicated to resolving the separatist conflicts in Casamance. The organization reported that President Faye pardoned Bassène on Tuesday, and he was released from Dakar prison the following day. After the 2018 massacre, a separatist group called the Casamance Movement of Democratic Forces (MFDC) was blamed, though they denied involvement. Rebel fighters from MFDC used the forest as a base, and authorities accused them of funding their activities through illegal timber and cannabis trafficking. The rebels, however, denied any involvement in the killings and accused corrupt local officials. 2 MFDC members and journalist Bassène received life sentence for murders. One was tried in absentia and another acquitted in August 2024. A Ziguinchor court also gave 6-month suspended sentences to 2 others and acquitted 11. CPJ found court documents and interviews showed flawed investigation, with other defendants saying they were forced to implicate Bassène or sign false records. Since he was imprisoned, Bassène's family and rights organizations never stopped campaigning for his release. But even to them, his release seems to have come as a welcome surprise. Reporting for QTV News, I'm Jacqueline Colley.
And before we end, here is a recap of our main headlines. The Speaker of the National Assembly and leader of the APRC party, Fabakary Tombong Jatta, has called on Gambians to remain tolerant, avoid insults, and reject tribal sentiments ahead of the upcoming presidential election. Qtv Africa, an international NGO which uses sports as a primary tool for social inclusion, education, and socio-economic empowerment of youth, has been launched in the Gambia. In partnership with the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and Ministry of Youth and Sports, the project was rolled out for students at Latrikunda Sabiji Basic School. Action Aid International, the Gambia, recently convened a forum on bilateral investment treaties with the National Assembly Select Committee on Trade at the National Assembly grounds in Banjul. The gathering brought together lawmakers, civil society representatives, and policy experts to discuss how investment treaties impact national development, governance, and public accountability. And the General Manager of the Gambia Postal Services Corporation has revealed the government's new mobile money application called Sutura as part of efforts to advance digital transformation and prepare the country for a future cashless economy. That's all for this bulletin. You can join us again tomorrow, same time, for more news. Until then, on behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching.